phase where the judge would have to determine whether or not a former president of the United States, who would then be a convicted felon, would have to go to jail. That would be a serious option because these are felony charges, and felony convictions always come with jail time. And you have
all right,
to
and Dante, I don't want to cut you off here, but
historic moment in American history, the verdict in the first criminal trial ever against a former president of the United States. Here in New York, the jury a short time ago alerting the judge it has reached a decision in the Donald Trump hush money trial.
Moments before the judge announced that the jury had reached a verdict, he said he was going to be sending them home. And then there was a delay, a pause before the judge came back out onto the bench and very quietly announced, almost mumbling, that the jury had reached a verdict, and it jolted everyone in their seat. Former President Trump, in fact, had been laughing and joking with his defense attorney, Todd Blanche. Prosecutors had been smiling and sharing pleasantries, but everyone instantly became ramrod straight. Court officers flooded into the courtroom, and the jury asked for a few extra minutes to fill out the paperwork. It is a complicated verdict form because there are 34 counts of falsifying business records in order to cover up an alleged conspiracy to corrupt the 2016.
This jury in New York City, a jury of his peers, finding the former president guilty on every single felony count brought against him by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office.
An incredible verdict on this day in May, late May. The former president of the United States convicted as charged. 34 counts of falsifying business records.
Back at it like a crack addict, automatic like a fomatic, built from tragedy, made for static. The perfect timing podcast is back in the building. It's your boy Perfect. We're in the Perfect Timing Podcast studios, and you see what's on the screen. We got the Trump verdict that came in. Trump guilty on all 34 counts. I'm not going to hold you. I want to get right to Trump and see what he has to say about the verdict. So far, what we know is there was 34 counts. He was found guilty on all 34 counts, but he's going home today a free man, and what you just heard is sentencing will come down on July 11th. So far, from my research, what I found out, he was convicted of the lowest level felony in New York. It's called a Class E felony. This is his first conviction, so it is highly unlikely that he will receive any jail time. But let's go to the former president right now and hear what he has to say about the guilty verdict. Guilty on all 34 counts. This is the Trump New York hush money trial associated with trying to fraud the 2016 presidential election. Let's go to the video right now. Thank you guys for tuning in.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace. They wouldn't give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6% in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here. You have a Soros-backed DA and the whole thing. We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man, and it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution. Our whole country is being rigged right now. This was done by the Biden administration in order to wound or hurt an opponent, a political opponent. And I think it's just a disgrace. And we'll keep fighting. We'll fight till the end, and we'll win, because our country's gone to hell. We don't have the same country anymore. We have a divided mess. We're a nation in decline, serious decline. Millions and millions of people pouring into our country right now, from prisons and from mental institutions, terrorists. And they're taking over our country. We have a country that's in big trouble. But this was a rigged decision right from day one, with a conflicted judge who should have never been allowed to try this case, never. And we will fight for our Constitution. This is long from over. Thank you very much.
That was President Trump coming in live, post-verdict, New York, 34 counts, guilty on all 34 counts. What I'm understanding is this is a Class E felony, the lowest level of felony in New York, and typically does not carry jail time. All legal analysts are saying with this being his first conviction and the level of felony, Class E felony, it is highly unlikely that he would receive any jail time. Also, we are reporting that we understand that the verdict will come down July 11th. So we're going to be staying tuned, follow that July 11th date. But I'm also hearing that if there is jail time, that he wouldn't be serving that jail time before the November election. And we've reported that here before. Let's go and see what other information we can find on this guilty verdict. For further clarity, I found a report for you guys. For those of you who may not know the details behind the case, the 34 counts and what Donald Trump is being charged with. Let's go to this reporter and let's see and hear and break down from their perspective. This is going to be from a blue perspective on what the case was about, okay?
At the center of the charges against Trump were dozens of documents, including 11 checks, 11 invoices, and 12 entries in Trump's general ledger.
This was ultimately not a trial about an affair. It was a trial about business documents and a cover-up, right?
Absolutely. Trump was charged with 34 counts of falsifying business records. Falsifying business records in New York is a misdemeanor, but here it's a felony because prosecutors had to show that Trump was seeking to commit or conceal a second crime.
Prosecutors argued that the reason Trump falsified business records was to cover up a conspiracy to illegally promote his election to the presidency. A conspiracy, they said, that involved Trump, his fixer Michael Cohen, and the publisher of the National Enquirer, David Pecker, who worked together to catch and kill stories damaging to Trump's campaign, like the story about an alleged affair with porn star Stormy Daniels, who Cohen paid $130,000 to silence in the final days of the 2016 campaign. Trump has denied the affair. The prosecution kicked things off by calling Pecker to the stand to outline the conspiracy.
They establish not only is there a conspiracy, but there's a specific moment when this supposedly begins. So they have this meeting. Then here we have Pecker talking about how he is Trump's eyes and ears. Then here we have sort of him defining the catch and kill scheme. He says, I'd notify Michael Cohen, and then he would be able to have them kill in another magazine or have them not be published, or somebody would have to purchase them.
Pecker also testified that he helped buy and kill 2 stories that could be damaging to Trump in order to help Trump's campaign. After establishing the conspiracy, prosecutors called Hope Hicks, Trump's former communications director, and they took jurors back to the weeks before the 2016 election.
Hope Hicks was important because she talked about how the campaign...
Really quick, because this is being explained to us from a certain perspective, let me know in the comments, has it been adequately explained to you where the crime has occurred? Because they haven't said whether or not that meeting and Pecker helping him with a magazine he owned and what stories he put out, whether or not that's a crime. So it's a hush money trial. It's not really about Stormy Daniels, but it's not really about this meeting either. It turns out it's about a payment to someone, and how are they linking these things together, and what is the actual crime? Can you guys let me know in the comments? I'm so glad we're getting this context. Back to the video. Because they keep using this term conspiracy, but conspiracy doesn't automatically imply that a crime took place. I can conspire. To conspire is not always criminal. So,
to the Access Hollywood tape.
I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Whatever you want. Grab them by the pussy.
She explained to the jury why the hush money payment was really responding to this crisis within the campaign and was not made for purposes of Melania or Trump's family.
Then the prosecution called porn star Stormy Daniels.
Were you expecting Stormy Daniels to take the stand?
This was a real unknown going into the trial. We didn't know if Stormy would take the stand. In some ways, she's tangential to the case. Her testimony absolutely mattered. What didn't matter was whether that 2006 alleged sexual encounter happened. Like, it doesn't matter if Trump and Stormy had sex. What matters is that Stormy was trying to sell her story. And I think when she was on the stand, jurors saw what that story looked like.
Throughout the trial, the jury also heard about Trump as a businessman from former staffers and also.
It doesn't matter if she lied. The crux of this whole case is that a certain section of people are saying that Trump lied. But it doesn't matter that the whole reason why we're here, and she just said it's tangible. It doesn't matter. The reason why we're here, the woman why we're all here may have lied about whether or not she slept with Trump, but that doesn't matter. And she may have lied to get money, which is a crime. And that doesn't matter. So her crime doesn't matter. We're here over a lie and a crime committed by a porn star. And people are proud that you've convicted a former president based on a lie. Or like they just admit it doesn't matter if it happened or not. According to the way this trial was charged, and that's why Trump say Mother Teresa couldn't beat these charges. According to the way the charges were charged and the way this trial was prosecuted, it doesn't matter that Stormy Daniels may have lied and sought to illegally elicit money out of the president. If Stormy Daniels was illegally extorting the president, it doesn't matter. Do y'all understand this? Maybe y'all help me out in the comments. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't understand what's going on. But she just said it doesn't matter if Stormy Daniels lied and then tried to extort the president, even though that's why we're here. If it was not for Stormy Daniels' lies and extortion, we wouldn't be here. She did say Stormy Daniels was trying to get money. Not that Trump, this is the thing, how could Trump be the criminal? Not that, and how do they link this meeting with the Inquirer to the Stormy Daniels payment? Trump didn't go out and look for Stormy Daniels' story. Trump didn't go out and look for Stormy Daniels to get money to Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels attempted to extort the president with a lie. And now we're here at 34 accounts.
Also from books he wrote.
He writes, as I said before, I always sign my checks so I know where my money's going.
That helped establish a pattern to show that Trump was a micromanager of his business dealings. Finally, the prosecution called its star witness.
Michael Cohen is an extremely flawed witness. How did the prosecution set him up so that he was ultimately believable to the jury?
Well, before Michael Cohen even walked in that room, I think those jurors felt like they already had met Michael Cohen. And they had established, before he even got on the stand, why all of what Cohen said made sense, corroborated much of it with other witnesses, that the jurors essentially didn't need to take any kind of leap of faith to believe Cohen, or in the instances when nobody else could speak to what Cohen could speak to, they were set up to believe him.
So wait, is this America, bro? This is America, bro. So you trying to tell me that the crux in everything that hinged on why we have now the first felony convicted president that I'm not proud about is based on a prostitute porn star's lie and extortion, and then a criminal lawyer's lie, and they just said a criminal's lawyer lying testimony that cannot be corroborated by someone with the goddamn character. What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? This whole case is based on two criminal deviants. And somehow we find the president guilty of 34 charges. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'm going to wrap this up. Let me know in the comments what you think.
So let's look at what some of Cohen actually said in court. First, he said Trump directed the hush money payment to begin with, right?
He did. And he said, Trump said to him, just do it.
And then there's testimony about Cohen trying to get his money back.
Yes. And Trump's sitting right there. And the prosecutor says, what did Trump do, or something to that effect? And Cohen says he approved it. And that's really important because it goes to the heart of Trump having a role in the creation of those false documents.
Ultimately, the jury found that Trump falsified business documents to pay Cohen back for his $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels, disguising the reimbursement payments as money for a legal retainer.
Why didn't Trump?
Okay, now we get into the actual crime. The crime, which they said in the beginning of this expose, is a misdemeanor in New York, which never should have came to trial. This Manhattan, New York DA in office is what's the word I'm looking for? Is infamous. This Manhattan, New York DA office is known for bringing misdemeanor cases to trial and trying to prosecute them as felonies. This is a misdemeanor in New York. There's fudging of records of who and how, what paid to what. This paperwork never would have reached the level of criminality because it's not a crime. It's paperwork. Nobody was injured. And like they keep saying, we don't know if Michael Cohen is lying and we don't know if Stormy Daniels is lying. There's no way in God's green earth this ever should have went to trial. And damn sure not for a felony because it's a misdemeanor. And the only crime is this misdemeanor, unless you wrap it up in this shitty bow, this shitty partisan bow, and they got 34 guilty. Let's go back to the, I'm cooking. He's cooking today. Back to the video.
First former U.S. president ever convicted of a crime. Next, Trump will be sentenced by Justice Juan Merchan.
What are the possibilities when it comes to sentencing?
He's got a full menu of possibilities. Probation, he could give him a jail sentence. He could give him essentially no sentence at all as long as he doesn't commit another crime.
Trump, who faces 3 other criminal indictments in separate cases, has denied wrongdoing.
34 counts. It's a Class E felony in New York. This should have been a misdemeanor because the actual crime, per my research and reporting, was an actual paper. This is a paper pirate. This is a paper pushing pencils, paper pushing pencils on pushing power. So the actual crime was a misdemeanor. The district attorney, this Manhattan DA office, was able to successfully argue and merge this along with this 2016 conspiracy, and then they were able to elevate a misdemeanor to a felony, ladies and gentlemen. We need to understand that this was never a crime that should have been in front of the people, that should have been in front of a judge from the very beginning. In New York, the only crime that was committed between that should have been adjudicated was a misdemeanor paperwork fudging. And that probably was a mistake by an elderly man about where he said the money came from. But this Manhattan DA's office weaponized this misdemeanor and coupled it with their conspiracy theory about him doing so to take over the 2016 election. And then they only were able to get it to a level of a Class E felony. By doing so, now we're here, ladies and gentlemen, where we have the first president ever convicted of a felony, a nonviolent crime that should have been a misdemeanor, and America shouldn't have this stain on her record. But hey, some people are proud about what happened today. Some people are happy about what happened today. They don't even have the background and the context that I gave you here today on the Perfect Timing Podcast. They don't know what the actual crime is. They just know that they don't like Donald Trump. They don't know what this has done to the fabric of America. They just know that they don't like Donald Trump. Well, I want to know from you in the comments, what do you feel about today's verdict? How do you feel now knowing the context that the crime here was actually a misdemeanor? And that the Manhattan DA office congealed this and came up with a conspiracy theory to elevate a misdemeanor to a felony so that America now has this stain on the record. Do you like that? Are you okay with that? That it never was a felony? That they raised it to it's just like everything in America, that they're raising the price on gas, they're raising the prices on house, and somebody's benefiting, but it's not you. And I'm going to tell you today, somebody benefited from this verdict, but it's not you, the American people. I promise you, it's not you. That you now say that you have a felony president. I don't feel good about that. I don't feel good about the fact that this Manhattan DA office, knowing that it was actually a misdemeanor. It reminds me of Jonathan Majors. But see, in America, they have separated us by color lines, by racial lines, by spirit. So we can't talk about the Jonathan Majors trial and the 3 black men that this DA in the same Manhattan office took misdemeanor cases and tried to elevate them to the stature of felonies and put them in front of a judge and a jury. We haven't talked about that as one, as black and white brothers together. Because if we did, we could have told you what was going on in this Manhattan DA office. It's the same thing going on with Fannie Willis in the Atlanta office. But we don't talk about the YSL case and the Trump case together and the prosecution style of these DA offices, and that is a mistake. These racial and color lines got to come down. These racial and color lines got to come down. But yo, I want to hear from you in the chat. Let me know in the chat what you think about today's verdict. Based on my reporting here, watch the video before you comment. Watch the entire video before you comment, and let me know in the comment section your honest opinion about what took place today and Trump being found guilty on all 34 counts. How do you feel about this as moving forward as an American? My name is Per Time Podcast with the blast on your ass real fast. Click on this link right here. Watch my next hot video. Hit the like button. Don't play with me on that like button. Hit the like button. Hit the Cash App, $Big D Rest. I'm out.